Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pentecost. This is a real exciting Sunday. It's a huge deal. In fact, in the old Mass, in the traditional Latin Mass, the way things used to be, Pentecost was such a big deal that after Pentecost we go to ordinary time. In the old calendar, it actually just used to count the weeks after Pentecost. So it's like this week after Pentecost. So we can't lose what we believe about Pentecost as being a very big event. In fact, to kind of measure things, you've got Christmas, you've got Easter, and you got Pentecost. Those are the big three, and I know sometimes people only show up to Mass for Christmas and Easter, but really, actually, Pentecost too is a huge deal, but we won't get into that. I don't know if you're like me, but if you feel a little bit intimidated where Jesus asks us to go out and baptize all nations in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, you're not alone. I get intimidated by having to go out and share my faith. And, it's kind of just do your analysis. It's a fear of rejection. It's, just wanting to fit in, not wanting to be outcasted and those sorts of things. That all comes with the territory. The disciples, the apostles, felt the exact same thing, and they were timid, and they didn't know what to do. And when you read the Gospels, you see like all the apostles making all these mistakes. Mistakes are fine too, don't get me wrong, but they just don't get it. Right? They really don't get it, even after Jesus rose from the dead, because we heard last week that they said they worshiped, but they doubted. And so they saw the resurrected Lord, and they're still just like, what's happening? And then everything changes today when the Holy Spirit comes down and just sets them on fire and he equips them with what they need in order to go out and bring the gospel to all nations. Now, the Holy Spirit isn't a force. It's not some neutral vibe or anything like that. What it is, it's a person. He's a person. The Holy Spirit is a person who we can have a relationship with. And as I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, the Holy Spirit is kind of the hidden person of the Holy Trinity, right? Jesus is always talking about the Father, and obviously we're Christians after Jesus the Christ. And so, but what about the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is what's going to help us with that intimidation to go out and share our faith. He's the reason we have the faith in the first place. And so a devotion to the Holy Spirit is so incredibly important because and we're having the parish renewal meeting today, actually tonight. I'm just thinking about we're going to present that our parish, we want to go out, we want to evangelize, but one of the things that happens is we need to be equipped. But we fall into this thought that like, I'll never be equipped enough, right? And we are. It's not about intelligence or educational background. It's having the courage, most of all, that the Holy Spirit gives us to go out and talk about Jesus to those who we would otherwise not really go out and talk about Jesus. We talk about football or something like that. The Holy Spirit also gives us the ability to know how and when, and so maybe it's not the best thing if you have a family member who's been out of the church for a while to go up and tell them, go back to church. We need to call on the Holy Spirit to be prudent on how to bring these things up and to look for parts in our conversation where when someone brings up our faith, we're able to witness to them what Jesus Christ has done in our lives. It's the Holy Spirit that does that for us. So as we approach the table of the Lord today and we receive Jesus, let us ask the Holy Spirit to set us on fire for Jesus. Let us ask the Holy Spirit for healings, necessary gifts, graces, and virtues that we need to continue following the Lord as his disciples so that one day we may see him in heaven face to face.